r/DeadBedrooms. Kadenemio, she says. My wife was upset her cousin is pregnant again. My wife cousin is now pregnant with her third in 3 years. Now my wife and I had trouble getting pregnant with our second, not our first, because it was our first year of marriage, and she was insatiable for that first year and we were not using any birth control. Shocking, I know. Repeated unprotected sex resulted in a pregnancy. When we started trying for our second, it wasn't about being intimate, it became a chore overnight, which led to second baby being IVF. In that 2 years of IVF we probably had sex 5 times, trying for a baby. Now my wife gets very negative feelings whenever someone gets pregnant with anything beyond baby number 1. She always goes to the why. Are they pregnant? They aren't ready for another child, or they don't deserve another baby. You can't help the way you feel, so I'm not blaming her for these feelings, but it's something that is clearly not the best knee-jerk reaction to someone announcing something so amazing. Now she said something yesterday that just left me speechless about this. Her words were, "We are good parents, we do everything right. When is it going to be our turn for another baby?" she was saying this through tears, and I didn't want to make the situation worse, so I kept my mouth shut. But I'm sorry, I have to say something to her today. Here is my advice seeking part. How do I say, in the most respectful way possible? I'm not aware of anyone else's sex life, but I know to get pregnant these people are not having sex once every 6 to 8 weeks. Maybe they are, and they are insanely lucky, but I doubt it, with their partner needing to be the one initiating everything. When it comes to sex, we need to have sex a lot to have a baby, and until you can get back to those insatiable levels you were at before you had our first child, it will never happen. Having sex once every 6 to 8 weeks, it's never going to happen. If you don't try, it's never going to happen. If you don't put in the frickin' work, I have given you thousands of ways to increase your libido over the years. I have given you ideas, new things to try, names of doctors, medications, trying to tell you to check with your doctor about changing your stress, trying natural remedies, toys, reading, working out, finding a workout you like, finding ways to build self-confidence, but you always brush everything aside saying you're just doing this so you can have more sex. Yes, that's a part of it, but a bigger issue is I hate seeing you unhappy, and frankly in an unhealthy way. Any way of doing this respectfully, or is this just gonna be a nasty conversation that is going to make everyone unhappy? I've done all I can do to take away mental load away. Literally it's all gone. The only thing she has to do is sometimes remind me of on super specific chore we do every 3ish months. Her standard of care is very high and our house is immaculate. Her sister also lives with us, so I get a double dose of reminders. If I miss something, every other household chore that needs to be done is me. IWFH she doesn't. Childcare, she picks up our youngest once a week and watches our youngest while our oldest plays hockey. I coach. We have talked about babysitters for his games too, so she can actually watch him play. Our youngest is crazy. I don't know of anything else I can do. Fun Commission says, why would you even want to have another baby with her? Kadenemio, she says, she's an amazing mother, especially when it comes to their education. She's a teacher. She loves our kids so much. She has helped me become a better parent in many ways. She was also in the hospital for 6 weeks with placenta previa during our second, which is why I said no to doing IVF again. And honestly, when we were having good sex, our relationship was perfect, like actually perfect. Environmental Bag 77 says, they mean why are you having another child? That will restart the clock on you being chained to a sexless home life. Tiberius Prime says, you have a troubled marriage. Honestly, why make matters worse and bring another child into the world under those circumstances? Maximum Sandpit says, same here, man. My wife and I wanted to have a baby. After a year she was like, well, guess we have to adopt. Honey, we had sex twice in 12 months. Navibit 1977 says, I absolutely hate it when my wife gets sad when her friends have kids and is like, I can't have a baby. I want to reply, you gotta have sex, yeah, no? Nervous Nobody 9000 says, ugh, this is a hard situation to be in, and I feel for you as I can relate all too well to this. My husband wanted a second child because our first was from my previous marriage, which was god awful, and he adopted our oldest, but he wanted at least one biological child. I didn't want any children, so having not just one, but two was a big compromise, and the first one was a choice made by my ex without my knowledge. Long story, and he confessed. Anyway, my husband is the low, and I'm the high libido in our relationship, and when I caved and agreed to the second child, I felt like I had to beg and plead with him to have sex. It truly annoyed and hurt me, and has caused irreversible damage to our marriage. This was 11 years ago, and I'm still trying to open back up and forgive. I would tell my husband that, in order to get pregnant, we need to have sex on a consistent basis, otherwise it's like we are just playing the lottery. The chances are slim. r/DeadBedrooms. This cake 2043 says, turns out she is masturbating too. I have created this account event. I 55 male, have been with my wife 54 female, for 30 years, married for 28. I love her very much, we still enjoy spending time together. I have many friends, she doesn't, but everyone likes her, and she has a bubbly personality. I have always had an HLB, despite this, our sex life has always been good, albeit infrequent. In recent years, she has lost all interest. I took this very personally, and it made me feel unattractive and less of a man. However, I understood as we have had a rough couple of years with illness. I came close to death more than once, and the financial strains this placed upon us. I also put on a lot of weight due to being ill. I worked hard to lose it all relatively quickly, as I wanted her to find me attractive again. I have a beard, because she likes it, and I'm known for being well dressed. Others tell me I'm handsome. I try to be romantic too. In the last year, I wrote her a letter for every year of our marriage, as she commented that people no longer send love letters. In return, I didn't even get a post-it note. As for my wife, she hasn't changed a bit over the years, though I would argue that she has become even more attractive as she has learned her style and become more confident. I tell her how beautiful she is all the time. The best I get is, you know you are handsome. We have had full sex 3 times in the last 3 years. One of those was in a hotel after she asked why I was rejecting her. Me reject her. Eventually, I asked if I could perform oral on her if she did not feel like penetrative sex anymore. I would happily do that daily for her, as I love it and never fail to ring her bell. She is reluctant even to do that. I feel that she is waiting for my libido and my erection to fail. I miss the intimacy, I miss the kissing. I'm so sad that I look up porn that includes kissing. To keep myself sane, I masturbate to porn every day. I think that is getting close to addiction. I write this today because last night we were watching TV, and a female character talked about masturbation. When we first met, she told me that she had rarely masturbated. This should have perhaps been a red flag in hindsight. Last night, she said to me that she masturbated in the shower sometimes. This devastated me, particularly when she said it never felt as good as when I did it for her. Then why not let me? I would be more than happy for her to pleasure herself, if only I got a turn too. I'm jerking daily like a teenager because I'm not having sex. I said, you do know that the lack of sex is damaging our marriage? She just turned the TV back on. Please help me to. Week 5 of 35 years says, I think you are being very warm and romantic and confirming for her that everything is actually okay. After everything you did, I'm sure she feels loved and comforted and warm inside. I would suggest that you tell her what it is that you need to feel the same. Perhaps I need us to have sex once a week to feel loved and to meet my emotional and physical needs. And if we don't get to that level within 3 mths, then I do not think we are in a marriage that can meet my needs and I will be leaving. I'm sorry, but I cannot make my feelings and my needs disappear. And see where some absolute straightforward honesty puts you. At least one way or another you will know the score. In my own experience, you are assuming that all the nice stuff you do, she is connecting with you wanting sex. Well, my friend, believe me when I say that the connection, for her, does not exist, and you have to make it 120% clear what you want, how often and by when. Same as you, 35 years married, 14 years minimum DB, 30 days into dead bedroom remission and my W is loving it. Money Pop 3011 says, I commend you for not stepping out on your wife, because this is insane. Don't get me wrong, sex in a marriage isn't the main thing to keep it going, but it is a factor. Your wife telling you she does that in the shower, but won't engage with you sexually is confirmation she checked out emotionally. We as women are emotional creatures, and with that we want all of you, especially when it comes to being intimate, because the love is there. It's been a long time you've been married, and maybe she just lost the spark she had for you, or just the marriage in general. Marriage isn't easy, it's a commitment and always a work in progress, because no one's perfect. But from a woman's perspective it sounds like she's checked out, and when that happens it's hard to check back in. Wish you the best, sir. Hatocrator says, do you just print out your post and leave it for her as a letter? It's emotive without being sappy. Ma 198,968 says, she should feel responsible for explaining lack of passion from her side, but your last sentence shows that she doesn't think she has to. You obviously love her and you're committed. Then you deserve a clear conversation so that you can make a decision. Marriage is a promise to give love, and without that it's just a contract. I try to understand her, so maybe ask her to write you a letter and tell you what things in the past has hurt her in your relationship. Consistent Juice 6757 says, I'm close to you age. Been together forever, zero intimacy for 8 years. Over the last few years, we've come together and worked to open the marriage on my side. We are actually more content now than we've ever been. I've been having an online affair for a little over a year. Remember, he knows, don't judge me, he doesn't. What you said about kissing? I felt that. I look away when people kiss. Sometimes I remember that I'm probably never going to be kissed again. It stings a bit. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.